anticipation is very important for enjoyment, so hopefully the little pause has helped. Thank you for having me today. And my name's Simon. I'm going to talk to you about whether green tech is actually solving our environmental problems or whether it's really reshaping them into a different format. I'd like to start, if I can, by telling you a bit of a story. It takes place in a building a little bit like this, in a town a little bit like this, and it's a group of business people. They're good people, they care about the environment, they're trying to do the right thing, they're trying to green their businesses, they're trying to decarbonise and that kind of stuff. And they sit around the table working out, well, what can we do? What are the practical steps we can do? And they sit for a while, and they think for a while, and then one of them says, I've got it. We can just buy some new stuff. We'll get rid of our fleet of diesel vehicles, we'll get some electric vehicles. We'll get rid of our light bulbs, we'll get some new light bulbs that are more energy efficient. All of our machinery, our fridges and such, we'll get rid of the old ones, we'll buy new energy efficient fridges. It's brilliant. We don't have to engage in politics, we don't have to engage in any controversial decisions, we just change the stuff we use. We don't have to change anything about what we do and how we do it. And we kind of do the same thing at home. If you remember, those of you who were around a few years ago, everybody got rid of strip lights in their kitchens and started putting halogen spotlights in because they were supposed to be more energy efficient. What we did instead, though, was get rid of one 60-watt strip light and put in 10 40-watt halogens. So actually we increased the energy. Of course, now we've got LEDs, so it's a little bit different. But we bought air fryers because maybe it uses less energy. We've bought energy-efficient products. And this is a brilliant and comfortable narrative. The narrative tells us that technology will save us. We don't have to do anything. Technology is going to come like a knight on a white steed and rescue us from all the problems of the modern world. The problem is it kind of overlooks the issue, which is that technology has caused most of the problems in the modern world, and now we're relying on technology to come and save us. And this is the kind of thing I've been teaching for about 20 years on and off, is that when you're looking at a new green technology, at whatever level, whether you're looking at a domestic level or a business level or a policy level, the key important thing, one of the things I'd like you to take away from today is not, is this piece of tech more energy efficient than its predecessor? It's about, does it do less harm overall than its predecessor? And that's a really important issue, because a lot of the time when we're looking at green tech, it doesn't do less harm. It just moves the harm. It moves it in space. It moves it from somewhere here, on the floor in front of you, where you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can trip over it. It moves it far, far, far away. So if you think about lithium extraction for phone batteries, car batteries, and so on, the problem's been shifted off to the Atacama salt flats in Chile, where the water table is being lowered quite dangerously. It's far, far away. We don't need to think about that. It also shifts it in time. We rely on future us. Future us is some mythical, clever group of people who are cleverer than we are, because by the time the problems we've kicked down the road manifest, they'll have invented some new tech to solve the problem. Be nice if it was true. It also moves it in visibility from something we have to look at and engage with to something we can, it's over there. We don't need to worry about it because we don't see it. And we can feel good about ourselves because we're doing the right stuff. And we can ignore all of the issues we're causing because they're happening to other people who are far away in areas we're never going to go to. Again, it's very comfortable. And I might make some of you uncomfortable in the next 10 minutes, but I apologize for that. I'd like to do a little experiment, if I can. If you take out your phones, don't switch them on necessarily, which is what I say to my students. Have a look at your phone. It's, as a bit of technology, it's phenomenal. It's got probably all of your recent memories in terms of photographs and videos. It's got all of your contacts. It's got your bank details. It's got your work details, all kinds of stuff. It's a communication tool. Lots of people will be completely lost without their phone. And it's clean. It's slick. When you use your phone, it doesn't give off smoke. It doesn't leave an oily hopefully it doesn't. If it does, you need to get it checked. It doesn't leave an oily residue in your hand. It doesn't smell. But your phone isn't clean. All the bits of your phone were manufactured somewhere. The metal, the glass, the battery. I've already mentioned the lithium. There's a well-publicized issue with cobalt, and a lot of the cobalt mining being from areas in sub-Saharan Africa where child labor is relatively common. So what we mean when we say green tech is clean, we mean the bit I've got in my hand is clean. But the other stuff has been shifted off. It's been relocated in time, space, and visibility. The other kind of saviour, the poster child for green technology is often the electric car. And it's true, electric cars can be lower in total life cycle emissions. A lot of it depends, though, on how you power your grid. If you're plugging your electric car into a grid which is entirely, where energy is entirely generated through coal, you're not really reducing emissions. You're reducing emissions where you are, but the emissions where the coal is being burned to make power still happen. You're just relocating it again. And it's not, the simple equation is we should all get rid of our petrol cars and we should all buy electric cars. Great. At some levels that works. But the electric cars cause their own problems. They're still being manufactured. A lot of them being shipped across the world on container ships. The battery tech is an issue. We're nowhere near where we should be in terms of being able to recycle electric vehicle batteries. And so again, it's about pushing this away. But if you're somewhere where the rare earth materials are being mined to produce batteries for electric vehicles, you're probably going to have a very different view about whether electric vehicles are a good thing for the environment or a bad thing for the environment. So it's all about where we are and where the harm is. And that's one of the things I'd like you to think about, is the life cycle footprint. Rather than thinking about, is this thing in my hand using less energy, think about, is this thing in my hand, is it consuming less energy? Is it more efficient from the moment it's mined, and then the minerals are refined, they're built into new machinery, they're built into whatever, and moved across the world? Is that whole life cycle using less energy? The other obvious area for green tech is in energy distribution. And for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's non-negotiable that the energy sector needs to decarbonise. But again, we're sold this picture that wind turbines, solar farms, everything else is green. Wind turbines still require concrete. They still require steel. They still require electronics. So there is still an environmental cost for building and operating wind turbines. Solar farms, similarly. The solar panels need all kinds of complex processes to produce them, to move them. They also use up land. We've got nuclear power, which is the sort of problem neighbour no one really likes to talk about. Green at point of use. There are one or two issues with nuclear power over its life cycle. But also infrastructure. If we're going to have electric vehicles and electric everything else, we need to upgrade the infrastructure, and that itself is going to use an enormous amount of energy to do that, an enormous amount of minerals. And one of the issues we have is when we make things more efficient, we tend to use more of them. So economists, I think, call this the rebound effect. It's been talked about since the 19th century. That you make a new thing, and it's more efficient. And what happens is we use more of it. So we've made batteries. We know how to use battery technology. So now we have batteries in phones and cars and drones and scooters and bicycles and chainsaws and everything else you can think of. So we're using a lot more batteries now than we ever were because we can do it. My first car back in a while ago, did about 25 miles to the gallon. My current car, which is still petrol, does about 50 miles to the gallon. But I probably drive twice as far. So my petrol consumption hasn't changed over 40 years. It's just been repackaged. It's just been redone. And if the efficiency of a product goes up and the use goes up, what happens to the total energy use? Nothing. It either goes up or it certainly doesn't go down. And this is the problem we have, is we need to use less energy. We need to not only be more efficient in what we design, but also more efficient in how we use things. And it's another thing I'd like you to think about is the total demand. What is the total demand on energy from this new green technology? Does this make it a worthwhile thing? And for us at consumer level, it's one conversation. But for policymakers, it's a very different conversation because the decisions they make lock us into a particular direction for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. The other thing that people talk about in terms of smart green tech is the cloud. And for a lot of people, the cloud is some ethereal, misty presence that lives up in the sky. That's the cloud. It's data centers, it's server farms, it's massive energy use, it's massive water use, the infrastructure needed to do it. There's a huge land use with these. And suddenly all the things we're doing which are smart, your smart fridge, your smart watch, your smart phone, all these things, what we actually mean is they're using more data. And for all that stuff, we need to build more data centers. And we need to kind of internalize those costs of data centers. Otherwise, if we get the maths wrong, we're going to point ourselves in the wrong direction. We're going to get locked into the wrong future. And you might be thinking, hang on, part of what, if you've looked me up at any point, part of what Simon does, he's pro-environmental stuff. You spent the last 15 minutes telling us that it's all terrible. It isn't. It's good. It's a good thing generally. But what we need to do is move beyond the marketing spiel. We need to move beyond the simple message, the smiling family, the house with solar panels on, the electric car plugged into the grid, the nice green fields behind it. It's all lovely. This could be, it's not, but this could be a publicity shot for something. The truth is a lot more complicated. And asking decent questions, asking the proper questions is what makes better decisions. If we just go with what we're told and don't question it, why are we being told these things? Who's making money out of this? So there are three things. Think about the whole story of what it is that's going on in terms of the tech. Think about the rebound effect. What's the total energy use? But also, a bit I haven't really mentioned is the burden. Who pays for all this? Green tech is a massive environmental justice issue because we in the UK, we in the developed world, are getting a huge amount of benefit from green tech. We've got cleaner air than we've had for centuries. We're not paying the cost. The cost is being borne by other people, which is kind of pretty much absolutely standard environmental injustice. So we need to look at a way of rebalancing that. Because as I said, the theme of the TEDx today is about unfolding futures. And they're right, the future doesn't arrive, it's not like today is the present and tomorrow is all of the future in one go. The future unfolds step by step. And if we set off in the wrong direction, we're going to end up at the wrong destination. We're going to end up in a destination where climate change has happened, sea levels have risen. There are some reports that by 2050 there'll be 1 billion climate refugees who can no longer live where they do now because of climate change. This is probably not the future we want. But the longer we leave it to make the decisions, the harder it is to jump the track to the right side. I'd like to leave you two pictures. That one is visible. This is where the kind of cheerleaders for green tech live. This is marketing. This is, look at this new thing. Isn't it shiny? Isn't it cool? It uses half the energy of our old thing. You should immediately throw away your old thing and buy our new thing because it's green. On the right, This is where true sustainability lives. This is the hidden cost. This looks at the life cycle. It looks at the burden. It looks at the rebound effect. It tries to bring all those costs, all those ideas into the product. And I'm not telling you how to live your lives at all. I just want us all to ask better questions. Because if we ask better questions, then we're no longer just buying green stuff. We're buying into a genuinely green future. Thank you.